Hey, welcome back. Now, in the previous video, I said I wanted to do a separate video on this CD live from Moscow. So there you have it. I don't know if I've mentioned this before because I do know I did a separate video on this way back when I first got the CD. But I want to draw your attention to CD2, the second disc. And you will hear this in songs like Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, and I think in Crocodile Rock. So basically the last two tracks, because these are medleys. I think you might even hear it on Crazy Water, though I can't recall. So on the last two tracks there is some distortion, which is particularly noticeable through the right channel speaker, and I found that very odd, that distortion, because to me it sounded almost as if my tweeter had blown, and I was concerned when I first heard that distortion. I thought that my tweeter on my left speaker had blown. So after a while I realized that the distortion was only coming from those two tracks, and it's almost like a crackling distortion, and I found it very odd because this, as you know, is a remastered CD, or at least I think it's a remastered CD. I went on to the fan page, one of the fan pages on Facebook, and I asked about it, and the response was very enlightening. As one of the guys that actually worked with this recording at the time of this recording, as you know, this is a BBC recording, or he was one of the guys who was involved with the recording back in 1979, actually gave us an in-depth explanation as to what that distortion is, and because I didn't think about it, but I had in my mind that this live recording was a tape recorder hauled around with him in Russia while they did the tour of the two cities, Leningrad and Moscow. So I envisioned that those concerts were recorded by tape recorder physically at the concert, and then that tape was taken back. But no, as I understand it, they were trying out brand new technology at the time. This was recorded and transmitted via satellite dish to the UK. So it was recorded in Moscow. That feed was transmitted to Kiev in Ukraine. This is all based on memory of that discussion, so I might be mistaken here. From Kiev, they had a satellite station, or a satellite station, yes. So that satellite station transmitted the feed, and we're not talking about satellite as in satellite above head in space. We're talking about satellite dish. So a satellite array, if you can picture how that looks. But so that's basically how they transmitted it back in the day. So from that from Kiev, it was transmitted to the UK via satellite dish, picked up from the UK, and then, or from the satellite station in the UK, and then transmitted to the BBC, and then the BBC transmitted it via radio. And what had happened is, due to weather, the feed was getting a lot of interruption, and the person that um, was that was discussing this with us mentioned um, that he had brought up um, the the need for the feed to be closed off, or for the concert to be ended, so to say, because uh, he was also the opinion that the feed would stop. So and that was due to the weather. Um, and so, as I understand it, I'm not sure if they ended the concert earlier, or they ended transmitting earlier, but straight after they took the decision to stop the feed or to stop the transmission, um, they were correct in their assumption, and the signal broke down, and that was due to the weather um, that they were experiencing in Ukraine on that day. So it was a very insightful discussion um, that was had on the fan page that day, um, and a very enlightening discussion um, as to why the last two tracks have some distortion on them. Um, Looking back at that now, I think it's quite they were quite correct in leaving that on this historical recording and not trying to remaster it out. I'm sure what they did was they tried to minimize um, the distortion so that it doesn't distract from the performance itself, but it's still there, and rightfully so, because it is a historic uh, concert and recording, um, and so I feel it was quite right for them to at least leave that distortion in there. So yeah, this was new technology at the time, and as you know, um, Elton John was the first Western pop rock act to tour the Soviet Union um, in 1979, and that was, I'm sure, a big promotion or big marketing campaign for the up and coming Olympics that were taking place in the Soviet Union in 1980. Um, and the live recording, I'm sure, was a trial run or a test to test out this new equipment and how the Olympics would be transmitted via satellite around the world. At least